Good afternoon. Snam 9 months 2019 results conference call. As a reminder, all participants are in listen-only mode. After the presentation, there will be an opportunity to ask questions. Should anyone need assistance during the conference call, they may signal an operator by pressing star and 0 on their telephone. At this time, I would like to turn the conference over to Ms. Alessandra Pazzini, CFO of Snam. Please go ahead, madam.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon and welcome to Snam 2019 9-month results presentation. In the third quarter of the year, we have continued to make good progress on our plans. Investments in our core business are in line with our full-year budget. In a regulatory environment, whole stability has been confirmed by the final resolution on the 5th regulatory period for the storage business, where duration has been increased to 6 years and the beta has been confirmed. Meanwhile, we have further consolidated our Italian footprint with the agreement to acquire 49% of OLT, the company which has been built and manages the offshore regasification terminal located circa 22 kilometers off the Tuscan coast between Livorno and Pisa. Closing is expected in first quarter 2020. We are improving our capacity to deliver new regulated services to the Italian market, where we have earned 14 million euro plus 40% compared to the same period of last year. We are continuing to cut costs, achieving in the first 9 months of the year 45 million of cumulated savings since the program was launched. Our focus on the energy transition remains strong. On sustainable mobility, we have already reached our full-year budget with 74 third-party CNG and LCNG stations contractualized. Meanwhile, the long-term potential of green and low-carbon gas has been confirmed by the joint scenarios published by Snam and Terna. Regarding our international associates, TAP is progressing well. It is circa 90% completed, and we confirm the COD at the end of 2020. The progress on the interconnection between TAP and the Italian grid is also progressing and is circa 25% completed. The 1st of October, Teréga has announced that bondholders have consented to modify the total net leverage ratio of the company, creating the opportunity to optimize the capital structure. On Snam capital structure, in September we launched a 505-year zero-coupon note and a 600 million 15-year note at 1%, essentially pre-funding Snam 2020 maturities. Looking more closely at the results, in the first 9 months of the year, regulated revenues grew by 3.2%, driven by WACC increase, the growth in the asset base, and the increase in the out-of-base incentives. EBITDA was up 4.1% as a result of higher revenues and the further effect of circa 9 million related to our efficiency program, which has been launched in 2016. The portion of this increase, circa 10 million, will be reabsorbed by year-end. It is mainly due to higher gas injected in the first 9 months of the year, when Italian gas demand rose by 5% and the postponement of some costs to the last quarter. Please consider that in 2019 the new businesses are still affected by integration costs and the launch of new initiatives, so they are not providing a contribution to the EBITDA. Net income from associates was up 29.8%, mainly thanks to the contribution of DESFA and Teréga, which will be commented later on. Net income is up 9.3%, also benefiting from lower financial charges, leveraging on continued favorable market conditions. EBIT in the first 9 months of the year was 1,125 million euro, up 35 million euro over the same period of the prior year. This number reflects the increase in regulated revenues of 59 million, mainly due to the increase in allowed remuneration, tariff RAB increase, and a gradual ramp-up in regulated services for 4 million euro. The effect of the cost-cutting plan that has delivered further 9 million in 9 months 2019, and is expected to generate circa 50 million savings by year-end compared to 2016. Regarding the cost-cutting activities, let me underline some examples of this benefit. The insourcing of specific maintenance activities for 1 million euro, the automation of some IT processes that will deliver 2 million euro, and the replacement of obsolete IT devices with ones that are more efficient and have lower maintenance costs for 0.5 million euro. Other components largely offset each other. They include negatives such as the higher costs for new initiatives and data integration, M&A costs, and the release of a provision in 2018, and higher variable costs, mainly related to energy costs. And positives such as lower early retirement, higher sales of materials, the adjustment to IFRS 16, and lower capital losses. Net profit for the period was up 74 million euro compared to last year. On top of EBIT growth, this was driven by lower interest expenses of 25 million euro, thanks to last year's liability management exercise, bond rollover, and treasury optimization carried out during the first 9 months. This was partially offset by the absence versus 9 months 2018 of the income from TAP shareholders' loan. In fact, TAP has completed its no-recourse financing at the end of 2018. The positive performance of our associate driven by the trends we highlighted already in first half. These are the acquisition of DESFA, completed at the end of 2018. Its performance in the first 9 months of 2019 has been driven by the surge of gas demand in Greece. DESFA contribution in full 2019 is expected to be more than twice as much as the acquisition budget and is expected to normalize going forward. The higher results of Teréga, mainly driven by the increased asset base, lower depreciation related to the acquisition premium, and the positive one-off effect connected to the release of a tax provision accrued in 2017 of 6 million euro, which will be partially absorbed by a few million euro one-off charge related to the payment of the consent fee to Teréga bondholders. Taxes were higher due to an higher earning before tax. The tax rate for the period was 25.8 on EBT, including associates, versus 26.3 in the first 9 months 2019. The lower tax rate is mainly due to the increase of the share of net income arising from the contribution of the associates. On a full-year basis, we have previously indicated tax range of 26 to 27%. We now expect to be towards the lower end of the range. Turning now to the dynamics driving our cash flow. Cash flow from operations for the period amounted to circa 1.2 billion, considering 146 million of negative impact from working capital movements. Of this, 180 million negative related to the payment in favor of Cassa Servizi Energetici Ambientali in order to regularize the overcharges and penalties cashed in the last years, minus 85 million in tariff-related items, of which 42 additional tariff components and 43 million due to overcharging and penalties, and a positive contribution of 157 million related to taxes that will be paid in November. The operating cash flow covered net investment and equity cash flow, mainly including the payment of the interim and final dividend of 746 million, leading to a net debt for the 9 months at 11.9 billion. For the full year, working capital is expected to be essentially in line with guidance. And now let me give you an update on our debt structure. In the first 9 months, DCM and EIB funding amounted to approximately 1 billion, with an average maturity of 9 years and an average yield of approximately 1.3%. This replaced 770 million euro bonds at an average cost of circa 3.8, expired in first half 2019. Thanks to the actions completed so far, we've been able to achieve a significant reduction in terms of cost of debt versus the same period of last year of 30 basis points. Moreover, in September, we completed a significant pre-funding exercise for 1.1 billion, of which 500 at circa 5 years, the third zero coupon issued by Snam, the unique Italian corporate to achieve this target, and 600 million bond with a maturity of circa 15 years, the longest tenor ever issued by Snam so far. Thanks to this exercise, we have already almost addressed the funding need for 2020, thus locking in today's very favorable market conditions. On the banking side, we highlight that we have achieved the target envisaged by our 3.2 billion sustainable loan, with getting a discount of 2.5 basis points on the facility margin starting from April 2019. We have extended the maturity of the 3.9 billion loans, out of which the 3.2 billion syndicated RCS by 1 year, up to July 2023, and December 2024 for 2 billion and 1.1 respectively, and 700 million bilateral term loan by 1.5 year at negative cost. In the remaining part of the year, we will be focused on the following: continuous focus on treasury management optimization and optimization of our financial structure, including our associates. Thanks to the action completed so far and the continuous focus on optimization, we can confirm the guidance in terms of net financial charges P&L we provided in July. Thank you for your attention, and we'll now be pleased to answer any questions you may have.
Excuse me, this is the Chorus Call conference operator. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and one on their telephone. To remove yourself from the question queue, please press star and two. Please pick up the receiver when asking questions. Anyone with a question may press star and one at this time. We will pause for a moment as callers join the queue. The first question is from Javier Suarez of Mediobanca. Please go ahead.
Hi, good morning, and thank you for taking my questions. I have three. The first one is on the numbers, on slide number 6, and on the net working capital evolution. There is a negative impact of 146 million euros. You can share with us where that number should be by the year end. That is on the cash flow statement, and also in slide number 4, you are showing on the evolution of controllable fixed costs 6 million euros contribution from the ongoing efficiency program, where that number should be by the year end. That is the first question. The second question is on the regulatory development. There is the regulator has published the final ruling on gas storage as part of the confirmation of the WACC at 6.7% in the period 19-21. If you can share with us other information from that final ruling on gas storage that you think is important to highlight, and also you have any, if you want to share with us any your reading of the last consultation document on regasification for the regasification activity. And then the third and final question is on the acquisition of OLT that you announced by the end of September. You can share with us the rationale for this acquisition and also the multiple that you are paying for 2019. Many thanks.
Thank you, Javier. So on the first question on numbers, on working capital, we essentially confirm what we indicated in the past. So we indicated our year-end guidance of net debt was factoring circa 100 million of negative effects from working capital. That's still the number we have in mind, so let's confirm. On the efficiency program, we are targeting at circa 50 million, of overall efficiencies of our cost-cutting plan since the beginning of the start. So that's number that I confirm. When it comes to regulation on storage, I think that you're right. I mean, WACC, of course, is and the beta were one of the factor. I think it's important to remind that the length of the regulatory period has been extended to 6 years, which gives a lot of visibility, and that's clearly positive. The calculation of the tariff RAB has been confirmed in terms of methodology. Again, dismantling costs continue to be recognized, and the OPEX 2020 calculated on the basis of listed variable certified year of 2019 has been confirmed and will be updated through the usual price cap mechanism. And I think the other important point is that the guarantee factor strengthened to 100%. So all in all, everything gives, if anything, more visibility to the storage business than it was before. When it comes to the other ongoing consultation, I don't think we have nothing specific to say. It's not that the consultation is progressing well. We are in constant dialogue with the regulator on this topic, but we are in the middle of it. When it comes to OLT, I think the acquisition is important because with OLT we have access and exposure to all of the three infrastructure which brings LNG to Italy. In the case of OLT, clearly is regulated and differently from LNG, which instead is an exempted asset and therefore not regulated. It also important because it focuses on the possible contribution that LNG terminal can give on small-scale LNG development, and so of course we are working on it already on our existing terminal, but that's something that also characterizes OLT going forward, and so this is equally important. I think as you saw, we paid exactly the same price that the other future partner paid. I think a multiple is probably not the right way of characterizing this acquisition, but it's a multiple which is accretive to us because it's a significant discount to where we trade at. But also it's fair that we all know the regulation in the case of LNG as a guarantee factor. So I think we paid an adequate price, we think, for that asset, which has give us a strategic opportunity to cover the entire market in terms of existing infrastructure in LNG.
Thank you.
The next question is from Enrico Bartoli of MainFirst. Please, go ahead.
Hi, good morning. Thanks for taking my question. The first one is relating to operating cost. If I'm right, in the third quarter, actually, they went down significantly to last year, even considering the negative one-off that you had in the third quarter 18. So I was wondering if there were some seasonal effects or special effects there, and if this trend can be extrapolated also for the fourth quarter. The second question is related to associates. There have been a continuing growth in the contribution from associates in the three quarters this year. It's reasonable to assume that this trend will continue also in the fourth quarter, considering also the consolidation on DESFA. The third one is regarding guidance. Considering the 9 months growth in EPS, which is almost double-digit, the guidance of 6-7% increase for the full year is still reasonable, and in case, can you elaborate a bit why we should expect a slowdown in the growth in the fourth quarter? And the last one is if it's possible to have the breakdown of EBITDA in the 9 months between transport, storage, and other activities. Thank you.
So, thanks. On operating costs, there is some phasing element that needs to be considered. So you should have, the 9 months had benefits from lower costs because some activities were postponed to the last quarter. Let's say a rough 10 million number is cost that you will see coming up in the fourth quarter, which still, as usual, will be lighter in terms of overall contribution versus the full year. I think on average, we are between 20 and 22% contribution in the fourth quarter in general in terms of relative weight. When it comes to associates, I think that overall you should assume some sort of, particularly talking about DESFA normalization, i.e. the last quarter again will be lighter versus the first three. In particular, there will be some tariff-related items. Two things worth remembering on DESFA for the last quarter. One, some tariff-related items, and two, as you will have seen, we have signed an agreement for the sale as all of the, not as Snam, but as Centrifuga, so the holding company that controls DESFA, the sale of 10% or stake to a Greek investor, Copelouzos. We expect this to be completed by year end, and that, of course, will reduce proportionally the contribution of DESFA. So I think that should help in not assuming additional one-off, actually a normalization of some of the strong performance we have had in the first 9 months, particularly, as I said, around DESFA. When it comes to guidance, we're not here to say anything different from what we said in July, so we confirmed the 6 to 7% guidance in terms of growth that we gave you in July. And in terms of data breakdown, in terms of transport and storage, I think in the annexes you do have some breakdown that is what we usually provide for key assets and regulated and non-regulated costs, which I think is consistent with the disclosure we always give.
The next question is from Harry Wyburd of Merrill Lynch. Please go ahead.
Hi, everyone. 2 questions from me, please. So firstly, on Regi, you mentioned there was an opportunity to optimize the capital structure there. So I assume that means an opportunity to extract some cash from the business by increasing the leverage there. So have I understood that correctly? And what could be the quantum of cash that you could potentially release from that? And then on Alt, just I don't know if you've mentioned this before, but could you just give us a guide to the overall level of net income or EPS accretion you expect from that deal? Because if I understand correctly, you'll obviously book associate income on your stake, but you will also book interest income on shareholder loans to the business. So if you could just help us understand what the income statement lines are that are going to be affected by that deal, and then the overall level of accretion we should assume on an annualized basis. Thank you.
Thank you. So on capital structure, I think I meant two things. One, when it comes to Teréga, we have carried out a consent exercise, which means that we may optimize Teréga capital structure together with the other shareholder, but this is not something you should expect this year. When it comes to our capital structure optimization, what we mean is everything we can do to benefit from the current positive market conditions is something that we will consider doing on our existing debt. So effectively optimizing tenor and cost for Snam, similar to what we have been doing over the past several years. So this is not necessarily extracting cash, but optimizing our debt structure and cost. So when it comes to Alt, I think that we will, of course, have a better sense of actual numbers when we come in the course of 2020, and is also a function of when we will be coming into the company. I think you need to remember that the structure envisages a shareholder loan that is remunerated, and so the contribution that this will give to Snam will be effectively given by two components. On one side, the remuneration of the shareholder loan, and on the other side, a contribution to net income. So I don't want to go into details that are not public at this stage, as the transaction is not yet closed, but the overall return of these assets is consistent with what we yield on our regulated Italian asset basis, and the contribution that you will see going forward will be a combination of these two elements, where effectively the shareholder loan component weighs slightly more or more than what we expect to make in terms of net income contribution. As you can imagine, this is still subject to some CP, and I don't think it would be appropriate for us to get into more disclosure vis-a-vis the actual numerical contribution that Alt would give. But hopefully this helps you making a little bit. If you look at the old numbers from here, and you can make your own assessment of what the equivalent contribution it will be for us going forward.
Okay, many thanks.
The next question is from Emanuele Oggioni of Banca Akros. Please go ahead.
Thank you, and good afternoon, everyone. I have two questions left. One is on OLT, but in terms of, I wonder if you could share with us the potential synergies you can extract from the company. And the second question is on Teréga, if there is any update on the impact based on the latest consultation document on your figures. Thank you.
Thank you. As it relates to Alt, we will step into an existing facility which has a number of contractual arrangements for the O&M of the company. So probably operational synergies is something that may come more later on rather than immediately, but that's of course something that we will be working on. I think what is really important for us is more the commercial synergies, the fact that we will have a platform with a presence in all the 3 terminals operating in Italy in a time where cargo's number is increasing, and that will allow us to optimize our strategy and effectiveness on small-scale LNG presence. When it comes to Teréga, as you know, there is an ongoing consultation document which has provided a possible range of WACC for transport between 3.6 and 4.4, with a delta proposed of 50 bps for storage. Essentially, what this revision look at is normalizing the cost of debt for lower risk-free rates, which we've seen in the market, and factoring a tax decree which has been proposed, which envisages a lower corporate tax rate in France. As you can imagine, in the middle of a consultation with regulation, we don't guide on what we expect, but factually, you can make the math if we end up in that range, what could be the implication for us. We are positive the dialogue with the regulator is constructive, and there are a number of other items that are being discussed. So despite the perception that WACC reduction will have an impact, we are still working with the company and our partners to try and offset part of this, which reflects the different macro environment in our numbers. But we expect the consultation to be still ongoing and the final decision to come by year end. So it's not the right time for us to provide specific and more specific comment on this.
Thank you. Clear.
Ms. Pasini, there are no more questions registered at this time. I'll lend the floor back to you for your closing remarks.
Thank you very much to everyone for your time and attention.